London, it is fight week in the capital. Golovkin versus Brook, just 4 days away, and will we witness the biggest upset in history by a British boxer?
Holder of 4 title belts. And ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up. There he is, Gennady Golovkin.
He's had trouble finding the right kind of opponents at middleweight. Nobody's really been wanting to jump in the ring with him and fight. They were kind of in the same position, so they decided to fight each other.
You always watch things, you hear things or whatever, but I was like, I need to go there and hear this power in person. Like, I need to hear, my ears need to hear it. So like, he warms up, wraps the hands up, puts on the gloves, and like, Chris, like, the thing is, yeah, it's effortless how he's doing it. It's literally tap, 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 boom. I haven't heard anything like it, to be honest. Yeah. All the other fighters came and you could hear the snap behind the punches, but you could hear the snap on his one, but there was a bass to it. Triple Z, the right hook, back. It makes you think, even if your hands are up and you got a tight guard, is that going to be good enough? So, nah, it's going to be wicked, man.
If Golovkin senses that Kell Brook doesn't fancy it, he'll jump on that.
So ladies and gentlemen, time for us to welcome home. Let's go, Chef! The undefeated World Champion of the world, from the Silver Champion, the special one,
This is a monumental task. If Kell Brook pulls this off, it might well be the best win ever by a British boxer.
Hard work, basically.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the final official press conference before the big event Saturday night at London's O2 Arena, as two undefeated world champions face each other for the middleweight championship of the world. This will be an event that boxing fans have been waiting for. An undefeated welterweight champion having no problem to step up to the 160-pound division against one of the most recognized middleweight champions in many, many years. So here to get things started and tell you more about it from Matchroom Boxing, Mr. Eddie Hearn.
Welcome everybody here to Canary Wharf, and this fight is just about hit fever pitch. I can tell anybody, any media that want to know that dealing with Triple G and his team, there is no reason why any fighter who really wants to fight him, who really believes he can beat him, shouldn't get in the way. We've brought them a fighter in Kell Brook, 36-0, undefeated IBF welterweight champion, that has so many levels to show. And on Saturday night, he takes the outrageous leap of 2 weight divisions to a place where we know he is so much more comfortable, so much more stronger, so much more full of belief.
I'm very excited about this fight. To beat the best, but beat the very best. So, I've put that bar very high, but I've always put that pressure on me. I've always wanted to be the best in the sport I love. So, I'm excited. All the talking is over. The training, is over. It's coming down to two champions. Two fighters, two top champions fighting each other Saturday night.
I respect Kell Brook team. I know he's understand. Right? For us, this is biggest fight. He looks good. He said he's ready to me. I'm ready to him. This big present, big gift for people, for not just UK people, not just for fans, for everybody. I saw so many American people, so Germany people, from Kazakhstan people here. I believe this is very biggest fight for us. Thank you very much.
This isn't a big guy fighting a small guy. This is two middleweight champions fighting. So the advantage, if there ever was one, of the big guy and the small guy, that's gone. We've done it very technically. We've been to universities, we've had it measured. Everything's been calculated. No stone has been left unturned. This guy is the underdog, but he's coming to win.
Saturday night, Kell Brook will brutally discover, that it takes more than a 10-week scientific experiment to topple Gennady Golovkin. Thank you.
Yeah, this is an announcement that blew my mind like pretty much no other in the time that I've been working in this sport. Very similar to Canelo against Amir Khan when that was announced earlier in the year. I think there's greater natural strength in Kell Brook, for sure, but then against that, there's greater natural strength and power in Gennady Golovkin. So it kind of evens out. Where I think there is a big difference is that we've known for years that Kell Brook has struggled at the welterweight poundage. Has he struggled enough that he really needed to move immediately to middleweight? I don't think so.
You have to favor Golovkin. He's a naturally bigger guy. For all the talk that Brook is a natural middleweight, Golovkin cannot make the welterweight limit. Brook was making the welterweight limit, so that makes Golovkin the bigger guy. Makes Golovkin a harder puncher. Brook's got nice power at welterweight. Will it translate to middleweight? Probably not the same kind of power. He may get enough to respect. Here's the one factor I want to see. I want to see if Brook's versatility and athleticism can create some frustration and disruption in Golovkin's style. We never see Golovkin really on the back foot. We never see Golovkin in any kind of frustration where he has to overthink things. It's easy to not make mistakes. His fundamentals are terrific, but it's easy to not make mistakes when you're always winning the fight, when you're always in control of the fight. Ultimately, I think Golovkin wins the fight, but can Brook take away the advantage in some spots, in some moments, to where it reveals certain character flaws in Golovkin, to where, yeah, he might be fundamentally sound, but sometimes when you're frustrated, you start to reach. Sometimes when you're frustrated, you start to throw punches when you shouldn't. Sometimes when you're frustrated, you start to force action when you shouldn't, and it winds up getting you hit and getting you clocked with some hard shots. I want to see if Brook can bring that out of him. I want to see if he at least can take him to that point. And then if he takes him to that point, what does that reveal about Golovkin? Will he get frustrated, or will he still remain calm under that type of pressure and regain the advantage? That's what I'm looking for here.
Welcome to the official weigh-in for tomorrow night's main event. 12 rounds of boxing for the middleweight championship of the world.
It's a tough call, that's for sure. Well, I'll tell you what, at the press conference, he did look, I see a look in his face I hadn't seen before. I couldn't tell exactly what it was, but there was something there that made me think he seemed a bit unsettled. When I first heard when he was coming over that soon to the fight, I was shocked, but then I remembered that he fought in Monaco, so obviously they've done it before and it's obviously worked. But I remember travelling over to the States. I mean, you need at least 2 weeks because it really does affect you. But I mean, he's ultra professional. He's got a good team behind him, and they obviously, you know, they've done it before, and they must feel comfortable in that amount of time. Everything says Golovkin's going to win. I mean, if I'm having to pick, you'd be mad. I'd be mad not to say Golovkin, but there's just something. You know, I think we're due an upset. We haven't seen one for a long time, a real big upset. And not only boxing, I think sport needs one. And I just think with his style, and I could just sort of feel it in the air that something spectacular is going to happen.
It's just going to be, obviously, Brook trying to keep away. I'm going to look at all the possible options. Brook might even throw us all off and go to him and put him on the back foot. That could happen, never say never. And then, obviously, Triple G is going to come out and try to do what he does best. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I don't know how it's going to go, Chris. But I'm ringside. That's all that matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get things started with our two undefeated world champions who will face each other for this middleweight title. First up to the scales, he comes to us from Sheffield, England. His record a perfect one, 36 fights, 36 victories, including 25 wins by knockout. Tomorrow night he is the challenger, and he is the reigning welterweight champion of the world. He's the special one. He is Kell, Special K. .5 ounce, the special one, Kell, Special K. And next up onto the scales, ladies and gentlemen, his record also a perfect one. It stands at 35 fights, 35 victories, including 32 knockouts. 22 knockouts in a row up to this point. He comes to us from Karaganda, Kazakhstan, and he is the undefeated middleweight champion of the world, Gennady Golovkin, aka Triple G.
I thought it looked terrible. Without a shadow of doubt, it looked ill to me. I mean, I saw the footage from the press conference, and I thought it looked sunken in with his eyes, and I thought it looked rough. And then I heard that he got straight off without doing any media engagements. Today, being up close, seeing him on them scales, he looked like a guy that didn't want to be there. He looked like a man that if you're in bed poorly and you're getting dragged out of bed, and you got to go and do something, even if it's to get a drink or whatever, you just don't want to do it. He looks like that kind of guy. And little things like asking to go first on the scale. The challenger always goes first. Just cutting down his time being spent here just for a few minutes like that, I think there's definitely an issue there. Definitely an issue there. Kell's got a speed, he's got good feet, and he can pop a little bit. So the fact that he's not just a methodical come forward fight that's going to plod, where you can control the pace a little bit, you don't have to be quite as alert. If you're poorly, you're not quite as alert with things. You seem to move a little bit slower, your mind's a little bit slower, just in everyday life. So in that ring, you're going to be the same. So if Golovkin's off and Kell's on, it gives him more of a chance than he did before. So just by that, I give him more of a chance than what I did.
And that makes it even more exciting, doesn't it?
That makes it so much more exciting, because you've got that. Oof, how will it affect him? How is he going to be? You know, on fight night, everything's isolated in them some moments. And when you walk to the ring, when you're doing the fight instructions, you do a little checklist. I don't care if you're an elite fighter or if you're a kid starting off. You know in your head whether you feel great or not. You know in your head whether everything's gone great or not. Things have gone wrong, all them sort of things. You think about those things, and then the bell goes and you go to work.
He's moving not only into the middleweight division, but into the division against one of the best that's ever lived. Not just the best of the current era, one of the best that's ever lived. And Kell Brook will have to convince him, when they stare at each other, when they come together, he will stare at Golovkin, but Golovkin will read that stare. Is it a stare of belief, or is it a make-believe stare? The big difference.